Is Nick Patan a second-line center in the NHL?
I'm gonna go no. And to all of our viewers who don't know what we're talking about, Josh got in a little bit of Twitter beef, I would say. What was the account? I think you should blast them.
Editor in Leaf, like they're verified and all that, but I don't really know too much about them because I don't follow them. I don't think I do anyway. I just saw it and responded to it, and I didn't. I'll see if I can link the video to it, but I don't think I was rude or anything. I think I made a valid point when he said.
Give us some context.
Yeah,
Tell
okay.
the whole backstory.
I'll pull up the tweets. Like I was just scrolling Twitter today, and I just see this one tweet. Editor in Leaf. I'll give him the shout out. And so he tweets out, "Crazy idea, but hear me out. Nick Patan centering Nylander and Foligno. He's always played well and has never gotten a chance to play big minutes. Foligno can't center a second line. Give me a break." To which I responded, 13-16 on faceoffs and look solid throughout the game. But sure, let's throw in a guy with next to no playoff experience to carry the second line. So then he says, if you want to use the condescending tone that says you're trying to dunk on an idiot, maybe don't bring faceoffs up in 2021. Well, first off, I think 13-16 on the faceoffs is pretty important. And also, if he wants to bring up idiotic stats, he's the first one that suggested Nick Patan play on the second line when he has zero NHL experience at center in the playoffs.
Not even that. It's like, how many games has Nick Patan played all year? Like,
he played four. Played 4 with the Leafs. Had
how many with the Marlies?
I don't know how many with the Marlies, but I know he played 4 with the Leafs. I just wanted to do that. Like, if you're on Twitter, maybe think before you tweet. I don't know. I sometimes don't, but it is what it is. So, game last night. Game last night was good. Leafs win 5-1. Pretty good overall game together. Like, I thought it was very entertaining. You know, they had scoring, they had aggressiveness, lots of penalties for only one team. We had Marc Bergevin losing his mind in the press box, and then an awful challenge. So what do you want to start with?
Start at the beginning, obviously. I just think the Leafs responded really well in terms of, like, I know a lot of people have been beating JT a lot, and, like, I don't really know. I don't think you really know how much that has an effect unless you're in the dressing room. Mm-hmm. So I saw a lot of reporters being like, oh, if they lose again, like, oh, they just can't win without JT, or, oh, it's kind of too hard, or, oh, they're traumatic. And I just like, bro, like, I'm not saying move on, but I'm just saying you're not in the room. So I think your take on that matter doesn't really, like, you don't try to say, like, there's no correlation. You don't know because you're not there.
I don't understand when people say, oh, in the room they're doing this, in the room they're doing that. Unless it's somebody in the room saying that, I'm not taking your opinion.
But, like, in the room, that means you're one of 23 players. Like, no offense. Sometimes the head coach doesn't even know what happens in the room. Like, right. You know what I mean? So it's like fuck. But yeah, anyways, I just think the Leafs did really good. Like, I think in game 1 we were the better team also, but we lost. So it's like, it's playoffs.
I think
like, it doesn't really matter.
My main takeaway from last night was that it showed how. Well, it was a statement. It also showed how much that loss of Tavares affected the team.
No, I don't see a correlation in game 2 and Tavares at all.
I see a little bit of it. It was a real response game. I think they were playing for something there.
I guess.
It felt like they had more passion than they did in game 1. Which is understandable.
You know? That's true. I know what you're trying to say.
Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off there.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, I just kind of look at it as, like, the Leafs are the better team, and they proved it. And I know, like, a lot of people said, oh, the Leafs won't get 3 over the glass penalties. But the same people, just on a different fan base, saying, yo, that won't happen to Montreal again. And I'm just like, in the playoffs, the special team battle decides series time and time again. So, Josh, even you brought up face-offs. It's like you start with the puck. So it's in the playoffs, just all that small stuff, winning face-offs, special teams that actually come together to see who wins. And I would say the Leafs lost a special team battle in game 1. They lost the game. We won in game 2. We won the game. So I just kind of look at it as if you're both teams. You don't want to take penalties. You want your power play to be good, and you want your penalty to be good. But, like, for all these Habs fans and Marc Bergevin and everyone to freak out, and I saw Sheldon Keefe add a little heat to the fire, because I think one of his quotes, I don't know if you could look it up, Josh, but I think his actual quote, Sheldon Keefe, was, if you try to be physical and run us out of the barn, you're going to take penalties. And I'm like, I think they're just more frustrated because of our skill and speed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think we got them off their game in a physicality perspective. I just think when someone's better than you at something, even in life, you get mad. Like, that's just kind of realistic. And I definitely think that happened in Montreal in game 2.
There was a good point last night. I think it was Jeff Fayette that pointed it out. He said, instead of playing, like instead of retaliating to a cross check or to, a slash on the legs, why not just be faster than the other team and irritate them more? Which I think is what the Leafs were doing a little bit of last night, because there was a little bit of dipsy doodling going on, especially on that Sandin goal where Marner dropped it back to Matthews and all. It was great. I got the two goals mixed up there. It was on the Matthews goal when they exited the zone. The Leafs were just overall the better team in every aspect, I think, last night. Coaching was good. The power play was better. The penalty kill was better. Their 5-on-5 play was better. I thought everything looked really good. I thought Campbell had a solid game. It was a really good response to what was a game one. Can they do it again? I think they can. I think they're going to have an easier time repeating what they did in game two than what Montreal did in game one. Would you agree with that?
I agree with you, but if I'm Montreal, and I think a lot of times in the playoffs, you don't really put yourself in the other team's perspective because you're just my team. But if I'm Montreal, I don't understand how Caulfield, Kotkaniemi, and Romanov are not playing. Like you saw Kotkaniemi came in and he scored. Like just talking about the game and just kind of getting into a bigger Montreal
picture. Let's go with that because Kotkaniemi scored the first goal. What were your thoughts when that went in? Because my thought was, of course, it was him.
My thought he should have been playing the whole series. Like I know you win game one, so you don't really think about it like that, but if you win in a playoff series, why would you even put someone who's not in the lineup in? You know what I'm trying to say? So it's
because Evans was injured, right?
Oh,
that's why he drew in. But I get your point. He should have been in anyway.
You understand my point. You should be in anyways. And I just kind of think when you're playing the Leafs, who are a speed and skill team, you already have your big defensemen in Petrie, Edmondson, Weber, who are going to Sherrod, who are going to try to slash matches and do all that stuff. But you need to fight back with a little bit of scoring, a little bit of speed. Like I think our D group on the Toronto Maple Leafs, Hull, Brody, Muzzin, as good as they are solid, but I wouldn't say any of them are burners. I wouldn't say they're amazing skaters. You know what I mean? They're just solid defensively. So I would rather have a Cole Caulfield going against them rather than like a Gallagher. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think Montreal needs more speed and skill. So if I'm the Leafs and they don't do a speed or skill lineup, like I think we're just going to keep winning and like destroying them. Because like I know we scored 5 goals and felt like we destroyed them, but at the end of the day, like they scored 2 goals in game 1 and 1 goal in game 2. Like they need to score to cancel out like our runs into momentum. So if I'm a Montreal fan, I'm putting in Cole Caulfield right now.
That's what I'm thinking about too. And I don't think they have do they have a 5-on-5 goal in this series?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think they do. So you're looking at that as well. You've outplayed them 5-on-5. I don't think Montreal's putting in any of those other 4, the 4 scratches that Kotkaniemi flashed up after that goal. I thought that was, until I got the backstory, I thought that was one of the cockiest things they could have done. I thought he was saying Habs in 4 when he did that. And I was like, holy crap, that's a statement if he got that. But I don't think they're going to put in any of these other guys to go into the next game. I think they're going to try and continue to do what they tried to do and out-hit and out-physical the Leafs, which I don't think it's going to work because I thought the Leafs were the more physical team. Matthews led the team in hits. He had 5 hits.
Yeah, I just kind of look at it as like, do you not have a TV since like 2017? Like you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people say, oh, I'll hit them, I'll do this. The only team that's really done it to the Leafs in the Matthews-Marner era, I guess if you want to say, is the Boston Bruins. But when you actually look at their roster, I could argue they had more skill than the Leafs those 2 years. You know what I mean? Like they had Pastrnak, they had all these guys. So it's like I don't understand what they're trying to do. Like maybe be Columbus last year, but our team is so different last year from Bogosian, Simmons, Jumbo, Brody. Like we're more physical. So I would love it if a team tried to out-hit us, but like that's not a recipe for success. Like you saw the teams you struggled against in the regular season. They were like Ottawa and Calgary. And no offense to Ottawa and Calgary, but like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you don't need to do a hitting game. You need to do a run and gun, get them behind their goal line, try to mix up their defensive zone coverage. So we're still not really that good. Get it to a forward up high and just pepper them with shots. Because, like, as good as Campbell's playing, I don't think he could stop a Cole Caulfield snipe on a repeated basis. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but how many goalies could? Caulfield's got a good shot. I know what you mean, but
he should be in the series. So my point is, like, you need the offense. You need the go-ahead guy. So, like, anyways, it's good the Leafs won, but I kind of look at Montreal, and I think they've been pretty disappointing, to be honest with you.
So let's keep going. We're kind of getting off. We're having a little tangent about every goal, which is good. I like that. So the Kotkaniemi puts the Habs up 1-0, and then Jason Spezza pretty much steals the puck from his own teammate and just snipes one past Carey Price. What were you thinking when that went in? Because I thought that was a beautiful goal by Spezza.
That was a vet.
Of course it was him. Like I thought that was perfect for him to open the scoring after his role that he played in the whole Tavares situation, where he was kind of the one keeping everybody calm, keeping them in good spirits, and then he, ties the game against Montreal and really sets the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that was a vet move. I just think stealing the puck from Simmons, that's just like, that's a guy who thinks he's going to the Hall of Fame, like
Yeah.
that was just really funny. And like, yeah, they were all laughing about it. And I just think, what a good problem to have on your fourth line. Who should take the shot? Thornton, Spezza, or Simmons? Like, pretty good players in their prime. No, like I just think this Leaf team is 1 to 4 is definitely the deepest in the Canadian division, hands down. And I just think that's gonna drive us to success.
Yeah. So then we go into the intermission, tied 1-1, and then 5 minutes, 15 seconds in, Austin Matthews, Justin Hull, and Mitch Marner exit the zone. Marner drops it to Matthews, who passes it to Hull. Hull shoots it. He wasn't shooting for the net. He shot for the rebound, which Matthews picked up and buried into the net. Matthews was fired up to score this goal. I was pretty fired up. He scored it. Points right at Hall. Everyone was ready. I got to admit, when Marner exited the zone, stopped, and passed it back to Matthews, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Because on a side note, I thought Marner wasn't very good last night. He didn't look like he wanted the puck, if that makes sense.
He got 2 assists, man.
I know he got 2 assists, and like good for him. And sure, he played fine, but I think he could play better. I don't know if he's hit that playoff level yet. He hasn't scored a playoff goal in 14 games now, which is a crazy stat to think about.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's at that playoff level yet.
Because I think that would peel into like the second Boston series, no?
I think so, yeah.
14 games, yeah, it would. It's like, yeah, man, it's when you put it in that perspective, it is a little worrisome, but like, I think it takes time, man. And I just kind of look at like who we've played. Like we played Carey Price, Tuukka Rask, and say what you want about the Columbus goalies last year. They did their thing. Like, these playoff games are low scoring for the most part. I know last night was 5-1, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's going to be 3-1, 2-0, those type of playoff games. So, like, I don't really put that much pressure on Marner not scoring. I kind of think let him do his thing.
And it's because he's getting involved in different ways too, right? Like, he's making plays. He's good on the defensive end. He can help out on breakouts. It's not like we're only relying on him for scoring.
And why you say he's bad?
I didn't say he was bad. I said he hasn't been his best. Right? Like
he's been good enough.
I don't think he's hit that playoff level yet, though. And I think he can. And I hope he does. Because if you can get all 4, the main – well, I guess Tavares won't be, but the main 3 pumping on full cylinders, this team's going to be unstoppable, right? So that goal happens. What was your reaction to that goal? Because I thought it was a great – I could feel the momentum switching as that goal went in.
Josh, what do you mean by they're not at their full playoff potential? What does that mean?
I think Matthews is going full cylinder. I think Nylander's almost there. I don't know if Marner's quite there yet. I still think he has a little bit more to give.
I know what you're trying to say, and I saw a lot of this on Twitter, and I saw some articles this morning about it too. But like, I just kind of think like the playoffs is all about momentum, and like if you don't have momentum, I don't really care what anyone says. You're fucked. And like I kind of look at Mitch Marner as a player who, when he's going, it's really good, but when he's not going, there's turnovers, there's this, there's that. So I am. Exactly, but like, okay, I wouldn't say puck dot. I wouldn't say. I think you're doing unfair criticism based on it's only been 2 games. I know the no goal stat, but like Marner only scores even when he's at his best. Like what 4 goals in 10 games. Like you know what I mean? Like he's a guy who has 3 goals in 10 games, but he has 14 assists in those 10 games. So I look at him more as a creator. So I don't really care how many goals he scores. And like you did say, he is killing penalties. He is blocking shots. He does a lot of other small stuff where I think he's a good player. But in terms of him hitting his ceiling, I think your whole team in the playoffs might not hit their ceiling until game 5, game 6, game 7. Right. But I just kind of look at it as a process. So I don't really blame Marner for anything. Like I know he said he played bad in game 1, but that's more of we lost 2-1. You have to point at someone. It's like, yo, like let's go, let's get it growing here. But when you lose 5-1, when you win 5-1, I don't really care who scores.
Right, and he could have had 2 last night easily. He had a wide open page a couple times. Yeah. So we'll see what he does in game 3. He'll step up. Then on the power play, we actually got a power play. We got 2 power play goals last night. Rasmus Sandin with I don't know if we can call it a bomb, but he, slap shot from just before the blue line right through Carey Price. He scores his, first playoff NHL goal on the power play. Nice goal. Looked good. Everyone's happy and celebrating. And then we cut to the camera. Marc Bergevin's pointing at the TV like a madman. And then all of a sudden, there's a coach's challenge on the ice. And we're going, what the hell? We look at the replay. And I thought instantly, I go, I don't know what they're challenging for. That was the worst challenge in the history of coaches' challenges. And I kind of knew instantly the Leafs were going back on the power play. But there was also that little thought in the back of my head that went, this is the NHL. This could be coming back. Were you along the same thought line, or did you know this was going to stand?
I just think the coaches, like, whether if it stands or not, the fact that you can challenge something that you saw was illegitimate and then you get punished with a 2-minute penalty kill, I think that's the stupidest thing ever.
Why is that?
I think it's dumb because it's like I'm challenging something because I think it was wrong. Like I think someone missed a call or something that is not supposed to happen happened.
Okay, but
and you're punishing me for saying that. Like it's dumb. When you think about it, it's pretty dumb.
It is dumb, but I think the penalty is there so coaches don't challenge plays like the one that we saw last night.
But you only get one of them a game.
Yeah, so make sure you use it correctly. And I don't think that was Dominic Desjardins who made that call. It was Marc Bergevin calling down to the bench saying, challenge that.
It might have been the video guy, but that's not the point. I want to talk about this point. Like, dude, if something goes wrong, just in society, you see someone get punched or you think you see someone get punched just walking down the street and you call the cops aren't going to punish you because instead of it was a fake punch and they're filming a movie. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know.
That point's way off, Matt.
No, that's a really good analogy. I actually like it. You should clip this and put it on somewhere. Actually, anyway, the point is, I don't understand why there's a penalty kill at all. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I kind of think, especially like the game and the way it was flowing, when you get a string of momentum, like you could argue that was, what was the score when Sandin scored that goal? What was the score?
That made it 3-1.
That made it 3-1. So that's a turning point in the game. You know what I mean? To go up 2-1 from 3-1. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's unfortunate how it turned out because I'm obviously a Leaf fan. I don't really give a shit, but I understand why they folded after that. You know what I'm trying to say? But I agree with you. I don't understand why they challenged in the first place. But I do think,
horrible challenge. So then we go into the intermission 3-1, and things start to get a little intense. We have a couple of whatever you want to call them, scrums, couple incidents, players starting to run around, and we go into the intermissions kind of heated. Then we open up the third period. Nothing really happens till 8 minutes, 50 seconds in, where William Nylander scores a power play goal to make it 4-1. Now, when it's 4-1, this game felt out of reach for the Canadiens because they had nothing going. I think the Leafs had all the momentum at this point. Did you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I did. They had nothing going.
Nothing going. So when they had nothing going, it kind of turned into a shit show because we had a couple of big cross checks, big hits, players starting to take runs. What stood out to you about the end of this game? Because what stood out to me was Hyman, when he hit Kotkaniemi. I don't think that was dirty. Did you?
I think in the playoffs, the line of dirty changes so much because, like, it's the playoffs. There's very few things you can say exactly. No, it's not dirty under that circumstance. But if Kotkaniemi were to get up and charge him out under, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think it's a little gray area. So it's like, it's how every team interprets what happened, what cross-check, what hit, what whatever. But in all, I don't think this game was that bad relative to other series. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it could get a lot worse. Yeah.
But it was probably one of the roughest Leafs Canadiens games we've seen in the last 10 years.
Well, yeah, because most of the games aren't very important. We played them the last 10 years.
Right. So it's been a very good series so far. Kerfoot scores was it an empty netter?
Yeah, it was.
Kerfoot scores an empty netter with a minute 30 remaining. Leafs go up 5-1, and then we make it to the end. The last 24 seconds, Simmons gets involved with some people. Thornton gets involved with some people. Spezza gets involved. And then I didn't see it. I don't think you saw it either. I don't know where it was from. Maybe I did see it and just don't remember. Shea Weber he cross-checked Simmons, and he got suspended $5,000 for that. Not suspended. He got fined $5,000 for that today. So we'll see the fallout from that. So let's look ahead to Game 3. Is this series about to get more heated going into that game?
I think so. I think both teams kind of know each other's number. They know what to do. And especially if you're Montreal, like, if Montreal loses Game 3, I think it's fair to say that maybe it's not over, but like you're starting to feel the heat, like
especially with it being a back-to-back.
Exactly. So like, regardless of what happens in Game 3, I think Game 3 is going to be more competitive than Game 4, just because It's a back-to-backs. Maybe someone gets hurt, injured, whatever. Goalies might come out. So I just think game 3 is that big in the series. And even for the Leafs, like if we lose game 3, I'll be pissed too. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I think game 3 definitely is the statement game. You're going to Montreal, and it's definitely a big game. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Leafs, obviously, because I just think we're the better team. And I kind of feel like every game, and I don't want to say every shift, but the majority of the time we're on the puck, we're proving it. We're the ones doing the hits and stuff. So, yeah, I think we'll win game 3 for sure.
Yeah. Do you think this game was kind of a wake-up call for the like the Matthews, the Nylanders, the Marners, maybe Hymans, the guys that haven't really been a part of like a competitive, it's going to be hard to get my point across here, but like a team that has what it takes to make it deep into the playoffs, because we had guys like Simmons last night competing full speed, Spezza competing, Thornton competing, Bogosian competing, Muzzin, what point I'm trying to get across. Was this a wake-up call for them to say, like, no, this is what you have to do? Because we started to see Matthews rough it up a little bit. Hyman was getting involved a lot more. Nylander could probably play the body a little bit more, or at least take a hit. Do you think this was a wake-up call for those guys?
I think it is, especially when you're the favorite and you lose the first game at home. Like, I don't recommend going 0-2 in someone else's barn, Like, that's that's a death sentence right there. So, yeah, I think it definitely was a wake-up call, a statement game, whatever you want to call it. I just think when you have players like Matthews and Marner who are so much better than literally everyone else on the ice, I would throw Nylander in the mix. I think if Nylander was on Montreal, he would probably be their best forward. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So I think when you have players that dominant, you need to have a 5-1 game or a 6-1 game, just kind of send the message that, hey, I know you're Carey Price and you're probably one of the best goalies, regardless of what everyone thinks. I think it's a fair assumption to say he'll be up top of his game in the playoffs. So I think it's a great statement game from that standpoint.
I know I've been hard on him, but he's done about the most he can in this series so far.
Dude, I think for the last 10 years, Montreal's had mediocre teams every year, but he's just always been the difference maker. Mm-hmm. And I think if I'm Carey Price, I would get really frustrated that my whole career, they couldn't surround me with a little bit of better players.
They don't have the money to do it because Carey Price took it all.
But this has been happening ever since he was 20. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, he hasn't always had the $10.5 million cap hit. And even if he had the 10.5, like, to be honest with you, I look at your contract, you guys are still paying other people. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're feeling handicapped. Like other teams have been competitive with guys with high cap hits. Look at the Leafs. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't think that's really a good reason to say why they've been competitive. But when I look at Montreal, in their last 10 years, the best forward's been Max Pacioretty.
Right.
Like, that's not good enough. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just kind of look at Montreal Canadiens as a team and an organization more. You saw Bergevin that if you hit him on the head one more time, I think it's all going to fall down. So I think if we see another 5-1 Leaf winning game 3, I think it's over.
Oh, so do I. I still think it's Leafs in 5, but it's probably going 6. But my initial prediction was Leafs in 5, so I'm going to stand by that. I got a couple more minutes. We got a couple more series today. Currently, we have these are the old scores. Carolina and Nashville tied at 1-1 in the second. Nashville did squeeze out a win in double overtime. Do you still think Carolina takes this series?
Yeah, I did Carolina in 5, and I definitely think that. I watched those overtimes, and like, it was kind of funny because I saw Rob Brindamore complain about the reffing. I think him and Craig Berube and maybe someone else all complained about the reffing in like the same night. Yeah, same day. So I just kind of look at that one game more. It's like, yeah, I understand what he's saying. Like, I think Carolina's so much of a better team that it's unrealistic that they take that many penalties against Nashville. And when you watch that, I kind of get that vibe too. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, you called that, but you called that, especially in double overtime. Like, it's supposed to be murder. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't put your arm up for small stuff. And like, I don't know. I think the reffing in that series in particular has been very pick and choose. So I understand why he was upset, but I'll also go Carolina in 5.
All right. So later on, we got 5 o'clock. So that starts in about an hour. We got Colorado, St. Louis. Does Colorado wrap it up tonight? I think they do.
I hope they do. I think you know me, and I don't know if I've said on this show so much, but I hate series that you know who's gonna win, and like they just prolong the death. Like, you know what I mean?
They're up 3-0, and then one team squeaks 2 out, and it's like, okay, well.
And then they lose game 6, 5-0. It's like you wasted everyone's time. Like, yeah. I kind of look at it in that perspective, and we all kind of know Colorado kind of has it here. So I'd love to see them sweep. And then we know Colorado's in, and we just wait on Vegas, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And also with COVID, I think it's more beneficial to the league to have a team out. You don't have to test them anymore. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And the players get back to whatever their normal is. So I just think it does get easier, and you do kind of want to see it move along. So, but obviously, I do want to see the series that are really close, like go 7. But like in this scenario, I want Colorado to win, and I expect them to.
Yeah, and then later on, we also have Boston, Washington. Boston's ahead 3-1. They're the lower seed, but they have not looked like it. Alex Ovechkin looks a little bit pissed off with the Capitals. Boston wrap this up tonight. I don't think they do. I think Washington might take this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Boston did. But I'll take Washington tonight. I think they got a little bit more fight left in them.
They do, and especially like I look at the first 3 games; they were so tight. They went to overtime. The only problem with Washington, they played their absolute worst when Boston was playing their best, and it was in a game where they're already trailing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they squeak out game 2 or another game that went to overtime, it would just be tied 2-2. But, like, you can't afford in the playoffs to fuck up at all. So, like, you get behind the 8 ball really quick. But I still take Boston 7. I think Boston will win this series because I don't see them losing 3 games in a row. But I do still see it going the distance, and I think Washington has a lot to fight. And also, game 4, I think Ovi was the only one playing. Like, I know you kind of just said that he looked frustrated with them, but, like, Ovi was flying. Like, he was hitting, he was skating. There were some good rushes where he deked out 3 guys and shot it, and, like, everyone else didn't really help. And you saw that one clip where he shot the puck, someone hit him, he shot it again. And then when he was on his knees, Marchand kind of hit him in the head. Yeah. And it's like, dude, like, you have Hathaway, Wilson, Brendan Dillon. You have big guys in Washington, and no offense to Marchand, but, like, Chara. Like, I think you got to create more time and space for your captains and your best players. And I don't think Backstrom's had a good series. Kuznetsov, you blasted him a few pods ago. So I definitely don't see Washington winning. I didn't see them winning coming into this series, but I do think if I'm Ovi, who's a UFA at the end of this year, I think they probably have a contract behind closed doors and they're just waiting for the expansion draft so they can protect more people. But if you're Ovi, like, you get pissed how it's going. You wait till after the expansion draft. You didn't sign anything yet. You say, okay, I'm going to wait till July 1st. That comes. Maybe Seattle offers you crazy money, another team. So, to be honest, like, I didn't even pick Washington to make the playoffs. So, I think it's been falling for a while. I didn't like the Manta trade. I felt like they gave too much. So, if I'm Ovi, I'm dipping. I know I say that about McDavid, Eichel, Ovi, a lot of people. But I think Patrick Kane's another good example. I think when you're a player that good, every year it should be want to win the cup, want to win the cup, want to win the cup. So if you have to switch teams to put yourself in the best position, like Brady did, like LeBron did, like Kevin Durant did.
Well, that's interesting because I was just about to say you're kind of thinking the basketball star approach, right? And you're going to talk about basketball with Brandon, but
exactly.
It's like if you're a superstar, you want to win, and if you can't win in the situation you're in, you have the power to change that.
Exactly, especially like a flexible cap and a guy like Ovi who's already made $100 million. If he takes a discount to, like, say he takes a 2-year, $8 million deal to go on a team that's kind of there, but they just need one more to like I can't really think of a team at the top of my head, but you know what I'm trying to say, like a good up and coming, a Florida or something like that. And then I think, how do I say this? I think in the offseason, Ovi can put himself in a better position to win rather than stay in Washington. I'll just put that out there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you know that? I don't know if you know this story or not. Florida, the year before Ovechkin was drafted,
they tried to pick him. Yeah,
tried to pick him because they argued it was a leap year and he should be eligible.
Yeah, because I think he has a weird birthday. Like, I think the cutoff is September 15th, and he's born like September 16th or something stupid like that.
Something like that. It was a leap year, so they tried to argue it, but they didn't get it. And perhaps one of the most wrapping it up today at 7:30 our time. Perhaps one of the most interesting series to me so far. Edmonton, Winnipeg. Winnipeg is up 2-0. Not a lot of goals have been scored this series. 2 games, 3 goals. Winnipeg is up 2-0 in this series. McDavid doesn't have a point, does he?
No. They only have 1 goal in the 2 games.
Yeah. Has Winnipeg figured it out, or have they just gotten lucky 2 times?
I think it's a different set of rules in the playoffs, and I think McDavid, who's primarily on the rush, like he gets most of his chances and goes on the rush. It's like on the playoffs, you don't see any rush goals. You know what I'm trying to say? So It sounds really dumb, but the best thing he's good at is something in the playoffs that doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, how often do you get a one-on-one with you and another guy in the playoffs where McDavid can capitalize? It's not very often. So I think what they're doing is they're roughing him up. They're taking time and space, and he needs someone else to make a play. Like, it's like in basketball, like LeBron's triple team. He has to pass to someone, and that other person has to make a shot. But in Edmonton, they have no one else. And I do look at Draisaitl, but I think with him, it's like as good as he is, he hasn't taken over a game like he dropped 4 goals or like 2 points like McKinnon has. So I just kind of think it's like if all you have is a 2-headed monster, no matter what team you play in the playoffs, it's very easy to limit that. And even Chicago last year, like I think McDavid in the 5 games they played got 12 points, but they still lost. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I just think, like, it could go either way. Like, David could get 4 points, but they lose 6-4. Like, I just think Edmonton's so bad and they don't have a lot of depth. But the only reason we all picked them is because we believe in McDavid Draisaitl. But if someone told me, oh, they're playing the series, but McDavid won't play, I'm like, oh, Winnipeg would win. So I did say Edmonton in 5, but, like, I'm almost not surprised just because I do know Edmonton's depth. And if you shut down McDavid Draisaitl, you do win the game, if that makes any sense.
Right. I watched game 1 and I watched game 2 Canadian series. I got to watch it. I thought Edmonton tried to do the same game plan twice. And Winnipeg were just like, okay, well, we've seen this in game 1. We're just going to do the same thing we did in game 1 and game 2 and shut it down. And, like, one of my favorite quotes is, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's what Edmonton was trying to do. They tried to do the exact same game plan, expecting to win. Didn't happen. Are they going to come at game 3? They have to come at game 3 with a different approach. And I don't think that can be having the game flow through McDavid. I don't know if they have any other ways to win because that is the way this team is built. But having McDavid control the game, it's not going to work with the way Winnipeg's playing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Do you want to talk about the other series or do you want to leave that for a different show?
No, we'll talk about the other ones.
Okay, so we still got New York Islanders and Pittsburgh. That's tied 2-2. This is probably the most boring series for me. I hate the way the Islanders play, and Pittsburgh's playing with absolutely no intensity, in my opinion.
I get used to how the Islanders play. I just think it's so hard to be intense against the Islanders because I don't want to say they move the puck, but they position the puck so much that it's like you're not going to get a good run on them because their D barely have it. They play a good game. And, like, I feel like it's boring from a fan standpoint because when you watch the game, nobody has the puck. Like, you know, like they dump it in literally every single time. Like, I honestly, like, this game, we should actually just check off and see how much the Islanders dump it. Like, so many dump-ins that it's hard to get any momentum. It's hard to make hits. And I just kind of think, like, the grinding style, it's like the Island, like, they're a tough team to beat. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Just because they play hockey so unlike all the other teams. I know a lot of people get boring saying this, but in my opinion, the way you beat that is you're high flying. You stretch out a lot. You have crazy stretch passes. You do a lot of plays. Like, they play unconventional, so you're going to have to play unconventional to beat them. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like their forecheck, their 3-man forecheck, they only have one guy forecheck and everyone just stands there. Well, if I'm shooting it down for an icing and I have a guy like Gensel or someone flying, it's like you can't really do that because I'm slapping the puck 5 feet in the air, like trying to ice it and someone's going to beat you. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yep,
I think you need a lot of other plays. Like, I saw Crosby making some good plays down low. And you're just going to need a lot of unorthodox stuff to beat the Islanders. And you're also going to need a lot of shots. I don't think Pittsburgh's shooting the puck enough.
For sure. I do agree with that. I think this one it's going 7. Maybe game 7 will be exciting. Who knows? Tampa, Florida. This one got nasty last game with Kucherov getting slashed right where there's no padding. Looks like it damaged. You know how you kind of hit the side of your kneecap and you can get that shooting pain up and down your leg. I think he'll play tomorrow. I haven't heard anything yet. Who slashed him? Was it Duclair? It was
Duclair, and then Hornquist hit Sergachev.
Yeah. I thought that was a clean hit. I just didn't think he was looking. Maybe boarding, but
I think it was just a little extra because he kind of hit it like he body checked him in kind of like the weird mid side. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it wasn't like he hit his shoulder. Like, he literally hit like his rib. Like,
he knew how far away from the boards he was, and he was planning to use the
boards
boards as a weapon, which is boarding. But I don't think it was suspension worthy. And
yeah, he planned it, but like
get fined.
Yeah. If I'm Tampa, I'm up 3-1. I'm pretty confident in this series. Like, even if we lose game 5, I don't see them losing game 6 at home, like, at all. Like, good luck. So I would probably sit Kucherov and Sergachev if they're still hurt for game 5, to be honest with you.
You know what pissed me off about this? John Cooper acting upset. Like, you're up 3-1. Your player.
What you expect, yeah.
You still have one of the best teams in the NHL without Kucherov. Like, I don't know, buddy. Like, I don't know why he was acting upset. He's like, yeah,
I think
they're targeting my player. Like, of course they're targeting your players.
I think it's more just like the refs should do a good job targeting your players. But, like, if the score's 5-1 and you're about to go up 3-1, I don't really think the other team cares if they get a penalty.
No,
like, you know what I'm trying to say?
So, like, suspended.
Like, who cares? So I think if you're a coach, you should tell your star players to protect themselves. Like, no offense to Kucherov and Sergachev, but, like, after they made their outlet passes, like, they're just looking up, chilling. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and especially when you have a guy like Hornquist on the ice, like, I don't recommend doing that. Like, he's been in the league for 10 years. I know what he does.
Kucherov's not the cleanest player either. He's a greasy player.
No, he is. He's very entertaining to watch. He's like he's like Marchand, but he doesn't do the stuff Marchand does to get suspended. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're very skilled, but every now and then it's just one cross check or one elbow that gets the other fan base to lose their mind, and you don't really notice it unless you're playing them. Marchand, obviously, because he got suspended, like you notice it. That's kind of my point. But in terms of when you're actually just kind of look at a box score, you're like, oh, they had 2-2. They played really good, but they also cross-checked someone in the back of the head. Like, I think that's a good point. So, yeah, I think this is going to boil over. But I'm very disappointed because I said Florida in 7. But I honestly thought Florida would play a lot more speed skill game.
They can't figure out their fucking goaltending. It looks like they're going to end up using 3 goalies because Spencer Knight was in the goddamn starter's net today in practice.
Yeah, man. I think in that situation...
You can't throw him in, can you?
I think they're going to, but I just think if you're in that situation in a playoff series, you pick one.
Yeah. And,
like, no offense to Quenneville, you've been in the league forever.
And his name cannot start with Sergei.
Exactly. But, like, also, like, everyone says, like, even in the Leafs next year, we're going to have Campbell, another guy, and we're going to go the 2-goalie system. But when has a team ever won a cup doing the 2-goalie system? I actually can't remember.
Pittsburgh.
Okay, but okay, that's actually a good point. But in my opinion, I think Pittsburgh team was so good, and Fleury's a Hall of Famer. And at the time, I don't care what anyone says. I know Murray hasn't been that good, but if someone told me during the series Murray would be a Hall of Famer, I'd be like, yeah. So I think that's a very unique situation, you know.
But they won it accidentally with a 2-goalie system.
Exactly, they didn't come in with that plan,
with that idea, yeah.
And they only pulled.
They split it per series. They didn't do it like mid-series. They were like, oh, okay, let's try a different guy.
And also, they pulled one because he's bad. Like, Fleury lost because he was playing bad. Like, you know what I'm trying to... Like, I agree with you. They didn't do it on purpose.
The next year when they won back-to-back.
And I just look... Vasilevsky played all the games. Jonathan Quick. Tim Thomas. Like, I just think... When I think of Stanley Cup winners, I think they had one goalie. And that goalie almost played good enough to win the Conn Smythe. So if I'm Quenneville, knowing that, I don't understand why I don't just give it to... Say it is Bobrovsky, Spencer Knight, Drieger, I don't care who it is, but just one guy do it. Because I also think, like, especially those type of goalies, I think they all are so different. And Bobrovsky is used to a Columbus system, very tight, no high flying. It's torts, like they block a million shots, but Florida doesn't do that. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So in that, I don't really think he's a good fit for that team. So he's out, and he hasn't been playing good, like you mentioned. So Drieger's the guy who got you there. So why not keep with him? But maybe he's hurt. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. They need to pick a goal.
Yeah, they got to figure that out. And last series, this one seems like it's done. It was entertaining in the first 2 games, but I've just had enough of this one now. Vegas and Minnesota.
Yeah, I think Vegas is the better team. And didn't you have Minnesota winning?
I had Minnesota in 7, but after watching them not be able to score a goal for 4 straight games, it's just getting annoying now.
Dude, I just think Kaprizov's so good they gave him false hope, but like you can't do it with only 1 forward. I don't know why all these fan bases are surprised. Minnesota, Edmonton, it's like duh, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that series too much because there's not really that much to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we talk about maybe we can spin the whole we were just talking about the dual goalie system to win the puck. If there's win the cup, if there's any team to do it this year, it's Vegas with Fleury and Leonard.
Yeah, I don't think Vegas is going to win the cup. There's just something off with that team. I don't know how to describe it. Like
watching them play, I don't know. I know what you mean. Like watching them play, I don't know what it is. It's enough to beat Minnesota, but I don't think they're going to do very well against Colorado.
I don't think they have an elite number 1 center. I think that's what it is. So I just think when you look at all their forward,
you don't like Mark Stone?
Mark Stone's a winger.
Oh, sorry, you said center. I thought you said forward.
No, sorry, they don't have elite center.
No.
So what happens is, like I said, like your wingers are more puck dominant.
Maybe they should get Nick Patan.
Yeah, maybe that would help. So I just think your wingers are a lot more puck dominant. So like Mark Stone has to steal the puck and dish it out too. So like, you know how Marner kind of drives his, like whatever line he's on when he wasn't with Matthews? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like Patrick Kane, like Kucherov, there's some wingers that are so good they drive the line. I feel like every single Vegas line is driven by a winger.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but do you know what I'm kind of trying to say?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure next time we'll talk, a couple of these series would have been wrapped up by then. When are we talking next? I guess we're going Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll figure it out. Yep. We'll chat. Matt's going to stay on here and talk some basketball with Brandon. We will see you later. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, and please subscribe. We need some subscribers so then we can start giving you guys more content. We'll talk to you later.